So, Michael, what happened yesterday in court? Nick Reiner was not allowed to be seen on camera. What did we learn from this court appearance?
Yeah, it was pretty quick, Rosanna, and it was interesting because you've got this incredibly high-profile case, but you had a bunch of other cases that are obviously, not high-profile that were also happening in the court. So they sort of, it was in and out for Nick. But nonetheless, you're exactly right. The judge ordered you cannot show him. You cannot photograph him. So he was not seen with any cameras. The best that we have are the accounts of people who were in court. We had somebody in court, and there's also obviously the courtroom sketch artist who released a image, and what you see is him not wearing the traditional jail uniform, but instead he is wearing one of those suicide smocks because he is on suicide watch, for lack of a better term, as he sits in the jail here in LA County. He did not enter a plea. What he did was essentially waive his right to a speedy trial, and he will now remain in jail for a couple of weeks because he does not have a hearing or is not set to be back in court until January 7th. So again, a bond was initially set at $4 million. Then that was waived, no bond at all. So no amount of money is going to get him out, and he will remain in that jail cell until he's back in court, and we'll see what happens then. I will say, though, he has, you want to talk about formidable defense attorneys. He has hired Alan Jackson. A lot of people have questioned how he's, has the money, has the funds to do that, but he has hired Alan Jackson, just successfully defended Karen Reed, obviously has defended other high-profile clients, people like Kevin Spacey in the past. So he's got a heavy hitter on his side.
Michael, I'm just wondering, I know his siblings were not in court yesterday.
No.
But do you think they're supporting him regardless of what happened with the parents?
It's so I think it's hard to tell right now. So that the two other siblings yesterday came out and released a statement, and it was, thanking people for the outpouring of love and just talking about the relationship they had with their parents. I'm not so sure. I'll say this: when Rami, the daughter, called police at 3:38 p.m. on Sunday, and the police got there, one of the first things she told them was that her brother lives here and that he is a dangerous person. So she immediately pointed the finger at her 32-year-old brother, Nick. So I don't know if that shows how she's feeling or approaching this whole situation. I can only imagine how many confusing emotions she must have because, right, this is still her brother, but he is accused of killing her parents. And, I'm not sure. I will say this, too. They're going to have to make a decision here because there are 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. Those special circumstances mean that the DA can seek the death penalty here. They can also go life without the possibility of parole. They're certainly going to go to the family and get the family's input here. What do they want? And what do Jake and Rami want? I think that's a good question, a heavy question, but an interesting question. And I'll be curious to see what they ultimately, tell the DA.
I'm going to ask you maybe to speculate just a little bit by putting all this together, because you talked about Alan Jackson, his attorney, and a quote that he had afterwards caught my ear when he said that these are very, very complex and serious issues surrounding this. Does it sound like maybe there may be an insanity plea or something that he was on drugs? I mean, is that kind of in the ether right now?
Yeah. No, you know what? It's funny you say that, Kirk, because that's exactly what I thought too. That stuck out to me. He didn't say much. He didn't answer questions, but that was one of the pieces of information that I thought was somewhat useful, maybe a window into what they are thinking here. And I think knowing Alan Jackson, not personally, but just having watched him defend cases before, I think that'll all be on the table. And I think if anybody thinks that he's not going to have a defense for his client, that's not right. He's going to come up with some defense here, and they're going to seemingly fight back. And it'll be interesting to see what it is, because it seems to be such a clear-cut case. He goes to the party, Conan O'Brien's party. They get in the big argument. They leave. He checks into this hotel in Santa Monica at 4 a.m. That hotel is later found completely trashed and bloodied. So again, it seems like there's a whole, a mounting of evidence against Nick. But they're going to fight back. They're not just going to say, "Hey, we're guilty," and put me away forever.
And you are innocent until proven guilty. We talked about it. The next arraignment will be January 7th, or the official arraignment, since it didn't happen yesterday. Michael, I know you guys at TMZ are busy. Thank you for joining us early in the morning there in Los Angeles.